I'm 82 years old, and my wife has been gone for 6 years now. Not gone from this world, just gone from me, and I can say it plainly now. I spent 40 years proving myself at work, and it cost me my marriage. When you get to my age, the noise falls away. The promotions don't matter. The titles don't follow you into the quiet. What stays are the rooms you come home to, and whether someone is there. I'm not telling this because I want sympathy. I had my chances. I'm telling it because I understand it now in a way I didn't then. And understanding it now doesn't fix anything, but it does feel honest. Most evenings, I sit at the small kitchen table in this apartment and eat alone. I used to hate silence. Now I live inside it. I catch myself reaching for my phone to tell her something small, a comment about the weather, something I saw on television. Then I remember there's no one on the other end. We were married for 38 years. When I was in my 20s, I was hungry, not for food, for recognition, for security. I grew up watching my father lose jobs. I saw what instability did to a household, the tension, the whispered arguments. I promised myself I'd never let that happen in my home. So when I got my first real job at a manufacturing company, I held on to it like it was oxygen. I was 24. She was 22. We had just moved into a small rented duplex with thin walls and a leaky faucet in the kitchen. Back then, working late felt responsible. It felt noble. She would wait up for me in those early years. I remember unlocking the door at 9 or 10 at night and seeing her curled up on the couch, half asleep, the television flickering blue light across her face. She'd smile when I walked in, ask how my day was. I'd talk about supervisors and deadlines. She'd listen. At the time, it all felt like we were building something together. I was earning. She was holding the home steady. It seemed balanced. When our first son was born, I asked for 2 days off. 2. I told myself that was enough. I remember standing in the hospital hallway, taking a work call while she was inside recovering. I told myself it was important. I told myself they needed me. I didn't notice the way she looked at me when I came back into the room. Not then. I moved up slowly. Assistant manager by 30, regional supervisor by 38. Each step came with more responsibility, more travel, more late nights. I wore the exhaustion like a badge. I thought it proved something. She never complained loudly. That's part of why it took me so long to see it. There were small comments. You missed dinner again. I asked where you were. We'll save you a plate. Nothing dramatic. Nothing that felt like a breaking point. I told myself this was temporary. Once I made director, it would calm down. Once the new plant was stable, I'd be home more. Once the boys were older, they'd understand. There was always a once. I missed my oldest son's first baseball game. I sent a gift instead, a glove he'd been asking for. He thanked me. Kids adapt. They don't always say what they feel. I missed anniversaries, not all of them. Just enough that she stopped making dinner reservations in advance. She started saying, "Well, see how your schedule looks." I noticed the change in her tone long before I acknowledged it. It wasn't anger. It was distance. On Sundays, I'd sit at the kitchen table with stacks of paperwork, forecasts, reports. She'd move around the house quietly. Sometimes she'd ask if I wanted coffee. Sometimes she wouldn't. I told myself this was what being a good provider looked like. I wasn't gambling. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't unfaithful. I was working. That felt clean to me. But there's a kind of absence that isn't about betrayal. It's about not being there, even when you're in the room. In my 40s, the company went through a major expansion. I was offered a promotion that required relocating. It was a bigger house, better schools, more money. I didn't ask her what she wanted. Not really. I presented it like an opportunity we couldn't turn down. She nodded, packed the boxes, said goodbye to her friends. The new job consumed me. Conference calls at dawn, flights twice a week, hotel rooms that all smelled the same. I remember once standing in an airport, staring at my reflection in a window and thinking I looked important. It's strange what we choose to measure ourselves by. The boys grew up. They stopped asking me to attend things. They told their mother instead. I'd hear about school events after they happened. I'd feel a flicker of something, guilt, maybe, but I'd push it aside. I was tired. I was busy. I was building something. At home, our conversations narrowed. Logistics, bills, schedules, who was picking up who. We stopped talking about dreams. Stopped laughing the way we used to. In that first small duplex, there was a night. I remember it clearly now, when she sat across from me at the dinner table and said, "I feel like I'm living alone." I didn't argue. I explained. I told her this phase would pass. I told her everything I was doing was for us, for the family, for stability. She looked at me for a long time. Then she said, "I don't need more. I need you." I nodded. I meant to change. The next morning, I left early for a meeting. That's how it happens. Not with a dramatic decision, with postponement. Years went by like that. We functioned. We hosted holidays. We attended weddings. From the outside, we looked steady. Inside, something was thinning. When I finally reached the top position I'd been chasing, I was 58. The salary was more than I'd ever imagined earning. There was a company car, an office with glass walls. I came home that night ready to celebrate. She had made dinner, candles on the table. The boys were grown by then, living in different cities. It was just the two of us. I told her I'd done it, that we were secure now, that things could slow down. She smiled. It was a soft smile, not the one from our 20s. She said, "I'm tired." I thought she meant physically. A year later, she told me she wanted a separation. There wasn't another person. There wasn't a scandal. There was just exhaustion. 38 years of being second to something that never ended. I remember sitting in the living room after she said it, staring at the family photos on the wall, birthdays, vacations, smiles caught in frames. I realized how many of those memories I had only partially lived. She moved into a small townhouse across town. I kept the house for a while. It felt too large. Every room held an echo. We met for coffee, sometimes in those first months. The conversations were polite, careful. There was kindness, but not closeness. One afternoon, she said, "I don't hate you. I just don't know you anymore." That sentence has followed me for years. We divorced quietly. No shouting, no courtroom battles, just paperwork and signatures. I threw myself even deeper into work after that. It was the only place I still felt certain, the only place where effort led to measurable results. But something had shifted. The promotions didn't feel the same. The applause was thinner. When I retired at 65, they held a banquet. Speeches, plaques, a watch with my name engraved on the back. I shook hands. I smiled for photos. I thanked everyone. Then I went home to an empty house. Retirement is a strange mirror. It shows you what's left when the noise stops. I tried to rebuild something with her, invited her to dinner, offered to travel together. She was cordial, but she had built a life without me by then. Friends I didn't know, routines I wasn't part of. You can't step back into a story that's already moved on. She got sick in her 70s, cancer. It moved quickly. By then, we were friendly, almost like distant relatives. I visited her in the hospital, sat beside her bed the way she once waited on that couch for me. She was thin, quieter. One evening, she said, "I always knew you loved us." I swallowed hard. "I did," she nodded. "I just wish you had been there." There wasn't an accusation in her voice. That made it worse. She died 3 months later. At the funeral, people talked about her warmth, her steadiness, how she had always shown up. I stood in the back and realized that loyalty isn't about working yourself into exhaustion for the sake of security. It's about presence, ordinary, daily presence. I thought I was being loyal to my family by providing. I didn't see that loyalty also meant sitting at the dinner table without a phone in your hand. It meant leaving a meeting early to watch a school play. It meant listening when someone says they feel alone. I didn't fail because I was cruel. I failed because I believed there would be more time to see what was right in front of me. You can't recover 40 years of small absences. You can't go back and attend the games. You can't redo the quiet evenings. Now, at 82, my achievements are stored in boxes. The watch sits in a drawer. The company I gave my life to has new leadership. My name doesn't come up, but her voice still does. In my head, in the spaces between thoughts. If you're listening to this, I won't tell you to quit your job or ignore your responsibilities. That wouldn't be honest. Work matters. Stability matters. I just wish I had understood that proving yourself never really ends. There's always another target, another milestone. The people at home don't need proof. They need you. I used to think love was understood without saying it. That showing up financially was enough. It isn't. Presence is a language of its own. If any part of this feels familiar, sit with it. That's all I'll say. I'm not in a position to instruct anyone. I can only offer what it cost me to learn. I live in a smaller place now, 1 bedroom, a chair by the window. In the evenings, the light comes in at an angle that reminds me of that first duplex. For a moment, I can almost see her on the couch waiting. I don't ask for forgiveness anymore. There's no one left to give it. I just try to be honest. I spent 40 years proving myself at work. In the end, the only person I needed to prove anything to was already gone. And now, with whatever time I have left, I sit quietly with that